Hey guys, my name is Swrinny and today I'm bringing you a review about a cool little game that just got released, Ogre Tale. This game is created by Mages, formerly known as 5PB, that's who you may remember from the Steins Gate visual novel games. But back in 2013 they also released a beat-em-up brawler game named Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, and now they come with an all-new story in a similar playstyle as to that. In Ogre Tale you start off as the leader of the Ogre clan, Iroha, who is attacked by a giant man named Momotaro. After being defeated, she uses an ancient spell to escape and you jump hundreds of years later to modern day Japan. It turns out that Iroha has transformed into a grumpy old male cat who is training his descendants to take revenge on Momotaro. These descendants are your playable characters, Ron, Hana and Yume. Each of them boasts a different playstyle. Ron attacks quickly and becomes agile later on, Hana's attacks are slower and have a longer range, and Yume uses a big club which makes her even slower than Hana, but also strike with more impact. You can level each of these characters separately and all of them can be used for any mission. This game is split into 19 story missions and a bunch of side missions where you can farm XP, items and money. The story really doesn't take itself seriously and it shows with all the humor, fourth wall breaking dialogue, and references. I mean, they even added a Logan Paul reference when they went to the Sea of Trees stage. Also, I absolutely love the high quality voice acting in this game. If you happen to be a One Piece fan, you're sure to recognize Iroha's voice as the one and only Captain Buggy. The game offers 3 levels of difficulty and increasing the difficulty increases the level of enemies in the stage. That means that both regular enemies and bosses have higher HP and deal more damage. Naturally, they will also yield better equipment, XP and money. Now let's look at the controls and combat. The first thing I want to point out is that while the Steam page for this game tells you that a Xbox controller is highly recommended, I'd actually argue that it's a necessity. You can play the game with your keyboard, but when starting the game for the first time, it doesn't even tell you what buttons do what, so it's pretty frustrating to get into the game at all. It isn't until after the prologue that you see which key buttons do what, and even that is hidden in the menu under how to play an X amount of pages further on. So even getting there without knowing what the buttons do is pretty challenging. In the menu there's also an option for controls, but this only shows the information for playing with the Xbox controller, even if you don't have one plugged in. So please, if you plan on picking up this game, make sure that you are using an Xbox controller and it doesn't have to be the official one. I myself am using a Xbox controller made by PDP, which works just fine for this game and other games on Steam, and also roughly costs half of the price of an original Xbox controller. Continuing with the combat, with each character you can either do a normal attack, a long range attack, a ultimate attack or guard. I think these are pretty straightforward, but the ultimate attack is where this game really shines. You don't unlock this right away, but only after a couple of story missions. Up until that point the combat in this game feels pretty shallow, to be honest. But once you unlock the ultimate attacks, you basically unlock 6 extra attacks. You can make these ultimate attacks more powerful by leveling them up through challenges. At a higher level, these attacks also start showing new visuals, and after 5 to 6 levels, they even get a cool new color scheme. Look at Ran for example. She first starts showing regular flames during her attacks, and later on the flames turn blue. These ultimate attacks are spammable and kind of overshadow the normal attacks, kind of to the extent that you'll probably end up just using these later on. While defeating enemies you build up an SP gauge. These are the little flames under the health bar and you can use these in 2 ways. One is by holding the ultimate attack button to charge it up and release a stronger version of that attack, and the second is by attacking the enemy at the same time as you receive an attack. Doing this will cause your character to do an emergency attack, which is pretty much an AoE counter during which you are invulnerable. Now, leveling your character and their ultimate skills is not the only way to become stronger. A big part of your strength lies in the weapons and the skill slots. Weapons come in different rarities, and naturally the higher the rarity, the better the weapon. Weapon drops always scale with the level of the character that you are playing, so if you get a legendary drop while you are level 30, the item level will also be 30. If you replay the stage later on and you get a drop at level 50, the item level will also be 50. Each weapon can have up to 6 skill slots, and you can either put skill scrolls or gems in these pockets. The gems increase the base stats of your character, and the skill scrolls add effects to your character or abilities. The how to play section in this game offers a good explanation of all skills, and you can play around with these to find a playstyle that suits you best. Bear in mind though, that if you add a skill scroll to a weapon, this cannot be undone, so make sure to save your best scrolls for the best weapons. You can also buy weapons from the shop, but honestly this doesn't really seem worth it, because the drops you get during the stages often have a better rarity. The game offers a good level of stage variety that blends well with the way the story is told. All areas are inspired by real locations in modern day Japan, and they are beautiful in that regard. The enemy variety is great too and require you to use different approaches. Both standard enemies and bosses you fight are based on old Japanese folklore, the most apparent one being the main villain, Momotaro, also known as a little peachling. This is a folktale in which a person born from a peach heads out to the Ogre Island to steal their treasures and riches. On his way to the island, he offers a monkey, a pheasant and a dog food in return for their loyalty, and they fight together. As you can see in game, Momotaro uses peaches in his moves and has a chimera as a companion with 3 heads, a monkey, a pheasant and a dog. Pretty cool, right? Clearing the main story and side missions take about 10 to 12 hours, and afterwards you can continue leveling your characters and their ultimate skills and replay missions on the highest difficulty. In my opinion, this is plenty of content and replayability for a $20 game. This game also features online co-op, but seeing as I've recorded this video before the release date, I haven't been able to experience this yet. I always liked co-op in 2D beat 'em up games though, so if the netcode is good enough, it'll sure be a blast. As for my opinion, I've already talked about the necessity of having a controller and don't really like that this is the case. I think a game like this is best played on a controller though, but if they would have added the possibility of keybinds on a keyboard, they would cater to a much wider audience. The combat itself feels shallow when starting out, but soon feels great and fun when you unlock the 6 new ultimate skills. The voice acting is great, the dialogue is really funny, and overall it contains plenty of content for a $20 game. So, what do you think after hearing all this? Is this a game something you'd enjoy? Do you feel like it's worth spending $20 on this game? Let me know via the comments down below. One important thing to note is that the game has a Steam sale during its launch week. This means that the game will temporarily be 20% off, so if you're interested, this might be a good time to check it out. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading more Ogre Tale content aside from my regular content over the next couple of days. As always, I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time.